Everyone, welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. That's 4.5 years of Torah every single day, of finding friends from all over the world so that we can just say good morning and learn some Torah together, so we can lift each other up, help each other out, share what is joyful, share what is not, so that we can be a community together. As Penny's reminding us, it has been 1,121 broadcasts, consecutive mornings since March of 2020. What a blessing it is to be with all of you. Shush, it's good to see you. Ariel, my beautiful girl. Hi. Nice to see you. Good morning, my love. Bensi, nice to see you. Jonathan and Debbie, Boker Tov, good to see you. Ron and David, Debbie and Jonathan, Amy, Sharon, Adele, and Debbie, good to see you. Hi, Bensi. Peter, Cecile, and Lydia, good morning. Good to see you, too. Linda and Joyce, Deborah, Rosa, nice to see you. I'm glad you have electricity. I'm sorry you've had so many power cuts these past few days in Malta. Barry, you are visiting your granddaughter in Kansas. Wonderful. Patricia, good to see you. Hi, Arlene. All right, let's take a breath, sing a blessing, learn some Torah. Fabrice, nice to see you. Iris, I'm so glad you're here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I saw a few things I want to acknowledge before we begin today. So, give me a second. Linda, sending healing to your husband. Diane Kolakavod, donating an electric wheelchair to Afia to help others. That is an amazing mitzvah you're doing. Natalie, wishing your parents. You say, today is your parents' wedding anniversary, married in 1948, and your father still speaks to your mother's memory. May they both be blessed. May that love shower down upon you. It's good to see everybody. I think, Siona, you are also sharing that you're going to be having surgery, so sending you healing and strength and guidance to the surgeon's hands. May everything go well. May you heal quickly. It is broadcast 1,121. It is day 321 since October 7th. That's where we are. Sharing just also my own, a little bit of sweetness to keep on going up and down with the mood. Today's my son Micah's birthday, and so I am thrilled to be able to share that with him. Today's Torah is in honor and in solidarity with all of you and celebrating him. Parshat Eikev begins in a way that could be helpful right now. Some of us, I'm assuming many of us, saw the clip last night from the Democratic National Convention, where Rachel Goldberg and Jonathan Polin spoke movingly, yet again, on another global platform for their son and for all of the hostages, talking about Hersh talking to Hersh. And it was a moment that many of us who identify with them as parents, as people, any of the hostages that we connect with, this was a moment that was overwhelming for them in a way that they don't typically demonstrate. And so seeing Rachel not be able to compose herself at the very beginning was itself incredibly moving. To see tens of thousands of people chanting "Bring them home now" was, I can only imagine what that meant for their hearts. And still, it's 321 days. So the most important thing we can say is that we love them and bring them home now. Boker Tov, Moshe Tzvi. Nice to see you, my love. What a nice thing to see my kids here learning with me. And Ima, nice to see you. My mom is here. And just to say, that's part of why I look at Rachel and feel the way that I do. Why I look at John and feel the way that I do. I've met them many times. And they spend every Pesach at Camp Ramad Darom, where I've been blessed to be. And they lived in Berkeley, where I've lived, and moved to Richmond, Virginia, where my family lives. Their children are my children's age. They are my age. The difference is just a matter of chance. And so when Rachel clutches her chest, I do too. Parshat Eikev is not an answer to any of this. In fact, Eikev has a lot of challenging things to say about what it is to be in a land and how to treat others. That's a conversation for every day, but I'm not going to focus on it right now. The very first verse in Parshat Eikev is this, in Hebrew, and then I'll translate. V'haya Eikev tishme'un et hamishpatim ha'ele, u'shmartem v'asitem otam. V'shamar Adonai Elohecha lecha et habrit, v'et hachesed asher nishba lavotecha. Here's one translation. And if, I'm going to give you the translation, then tell you where I wanted to fix it. And if you do obey these rules and obey them carefully, your God, Adonai, will maintain faithfully for you the covenant made on oath with your ancestors. That is such an inadequate translation. Anytime you translate, something is lost, of course. But listen to how I'll translate it word for word, and then say something about that a little bit detached from the text. And it will come to be, Vehaya, Eikev tishme'un, if you listen. Tishme'un is from the word Shema. Last week, we had the first paragraph of the Shema in the Parsha. This week, we have the second paragraph of the Shema in the Parsha. If you listen, et hamishpatim ha'ela, to these rules. And Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher, is just worried about us, saying, just listen. So the first stage is listening. And think about someone with whom you are in relationship. Maybe a strained relationship, maybe the best relationship. When they need to tell you something, when something urgent that you need to do, that they're telling you, that first stage of letting it in, really listening. That leads to what comes next in the verse. Ushmartem, and guard them. Protect. What are you protecting? You're protecting not only that specific command, but the relationship within which that obligation was named. So, be it your parent, your child, your sibling, your spouse, your neighbor, there are demands that come along with every meaningful relationship. Sometimes they're stated, sometimes they're not. The first step, remember in the verse, is to listen. Sometimes to listen for what is not said. And that is a way of taking that second step, which is guarding. Guarding. Preserving that relationship by meaningfully internalizing it, demonstrating that you care. And then the final step, vasitemotam, because you can feel it, you can say it, but until you oseh, until you do it, all you're doing is hearing. Just to quote President Obama, the very big and important statement that he makes regularly when he hears an audience boo, he says, "Don't boo, vote." There's a big difference between saying you care and even emoting about it, even about something righteously and with indignation, with enthusiasm. There's a big difference between all that and doing. The tears that we shed when we hear Rachel and Jonathan speak, when you hear any survivor of October 7th speak, when you hear any family member of any hostage speak, those are all deep emotional feelings. And of course we shomer, we hear. Of course we shomer, we guard. These relationships are ever more precious. The question is, do we oseh? Do we do? Because the 3 steps are important for a relationship to really matter to you. For the change that you believe needs to be in the world to be enacted, you need to let it in. You need to honor the relationship within which that was born, and then you need to do it. So I would ask you, friends, in this moment, what is the message that we need to hear right now? I know we are all individuals. We all have different ways of hearing. And the last thing I would want to do is suggest that Judaism promotes a dogmatic response to such a question. But this universe has been calling for a long time. Not only the 321 days since October 7th, this universe has been calling for goodness, for kindness, for responsiveness, for being a good neighbor, for loving your neighbor as you would have love be given to you. To show respect, to honor truth, to be grounded in this world, and, yes, to take care of our family, our tribe. All of that can exist in the same universe. Anyone who suggests otherwise has a primitive notion of even God, that in order for me to be okay, you can't be. There's more than enough love for this world. There's more than enough kindness. There is certainly truth that should hold us together. So that first step is to listen. The second step is to honor the relationship. And the third, do what you say you feel. Don't tell me what you feel, show me. I hear Rachel and Jonathan, and I can't do everything, but I can do some things. I can call my elected officials and say, bring them home now. Tens of thousands of people at the RNC and the DNC called to bring them home now. Do you hear them? It has been 321 days. That is unacceptable. Because you and I, we have been in this feeling for at least 321 days. There have been other very hard moments in Jewish history. But the question is, what is, and I'm speaking to myself here, what does giving into the grief result in for Hirsch, for Omer, for Ariel Bibas, for everybody? Yes, the grief is real, but it cannot get in the way of this continuum of actions, of hearing, of honoring, and doing. So I would bless us to do everything in our power. I believe that when we come together to do such goodness, to embody the kindness and justice that our tradition demands, more good things happen. And our world is in desperate need for more good things to happen. So let's take a moment just before we sing Hatikva. Listen. You have your own heart, your own ears, your own lived experience. Listen with the ears that God gave you to what is being asked of you right now. What do you hear? Step 2. What relationship? In what context are you hearing that? Who's calling? And finally, decide now before we sing Hatikva what you're going to do to answer that call. You are necessary. What you heard is important. And we're obligated once we hear that. So pray with me. Pray with me that they come home. And let's do something about it too. Kol hon balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homiya ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia Od lo avda tikvateinu Hatikva bat shnot alpayim Liot am choshi be'artzeinu Eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim Liot am choshi be'artzeinu Eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, friends.